And there was a town,
Brant, Tennessee. There was a circus. There was a railroad.
Sparks' world-famous shows proudly presents Charlie Sparks, owner, operator, Sparks world-famous shows. So you want to run a circus? Always keep it about the money. That's what Daddy taught me when I sat up with him until midnight, counting pennies in the ticket car. Always keep it about the money. Now you might have a dream of making a crowd leap to its feet and clamor with one voice, Sparks, Sparks, Sparks! A dream of joining the pantheon of Ringling, Barnum, Bailey, and Sparks. But be careful. You're the ringmaster, and dreams aren't for you. Dreams are for rubbernecks. Dreams are for suckers.
Irving, the town that couldn't even remember its own name. True story. Supposed to be named Irvin, named after some rich fella. Postmaster messed up. Spelled it E-R-W-I-N instead. Nobody bothered to fix it. Yep, that's Irvin for you.
I lift things, heavy things, anything. This gets me on board, gets me to America, gets me to circus.
I ain't never been nowhere. Run a steam shovel down an Irwin rail yard. Dig holes all day. One hole after another. Paper said we might go to war with the Kaiser. I'll be the first to sign up. Ooh, he was a patriotic young man. Hell, I ain't patriotic. I'm just bored.
Ballet girl. Ballet girl. Ballet girl. Can't dance. Practically old enough to have a girl of my own. But ballet girl it is. Not a show girl. A ballet girl. Substitute ballet for show, and I'm not a scandal. I'm an artist. I'm not a temptress in tights. I'm a dancer. We walk the wire, we ballet girls, between decency and lewdness. I need to find my balance. The name is a start, and then the smile of an innocent flower, spotless, pristine, blameless. That's me, from head to toe.
Mud. Yellow mud. Everywhere. Boardwalks help some. Not enough. Always scraping it off your shoes. It's enough to drive a person crazy, all that scraping. Buried 2 kids in this mud. Husband, mud's trying to swallow me up, swallow this whole town up. God's punishing us for something. Take another flood to wash Owen clean.
I finished putting up the Irwin Evergreen Free Will Church in July. Turns out I might have been a bit optimistic about how many rows of pews I needed. A little quiet on Sundays. Love, forgiveness, joy. I'll keep on testifying, but there's nothing more lonely than a New Testament preacher in an Old Testament town.
It's love. Feed her, bathe her, sleep with her. Hell, at the end of the day, I even have a drink with her. Pour some whiskey in her bucket, mix it with some water. She loves it. Puts her trunk in, gone in a second. Now, I'm lucky. They live a long time. You play your cards right, you have a friend for life.
Could use my friends, I guess. Play with my brother Eli, skip stones at trains, and read Tarzan books. He's something. Read them right before bed gives me the best dreams.
Too old, the lot of you. Kids laugh, easy peasy, but we Joeys give kids more than laughs. We give them perspective. A lesson to carry forever. Biggie, there's always someone worse off than you. Except clowns, ain't nothing below a clown. Everyone pulls rank, even the ballet girls. We're the last to get the makeup mirror, even though we use the most makeup. Let me put it this way. How many ringmasters do you think it takes to change a light bulb? None. They tell the clowns to do it.
Irwin, rising taller every year. Best this country has to offer. It's peaceful, because I keep it that way. Folks around here honest, law-abiding. Ain't the folks around here I worry about. It's the strangers. It's that damn train station.
All the traveling from town to town, all the firing, hiring, meeting. Firing happens all the time. Fella's lucky, he gets fired in a town during a stop. Unlucky, he gets red lighted, tossed off our train while it's moving. Sucker don't see nothing but the red lights of the caboose as they fade away. And hiring, do a lot of that too. Circus needs a lot of muscle and not just in the ring. Counties get out of line now and then, think they're tougher than the strong men. Get fresh with a ballet girl. Well, Sparks sees any funny business and he calls out that, "Hey, Rube." I gotta teach every new hire that when they hear that "Hey, Rube," they drop whatever they're doing and come running to defend their own. And that's just the tip. I gotta keep track of everything. People, animals, lumber. Hell, we're like a little town all our own, traveling with our buildings on our backs.
It was September. There was a town and a circus and a railroad.
The railroad invented time in this country. Before us, there was chaos. every clock for itself. People set their clocks to the sun like cavemen. Every town in America declared its own noon. We came along and told this country no. We have a schedule to keep. Time is not relative, it's precise. Time is not gray, it's black and white. The circus favored our proclamation. Before us, circus traveled by wagon, limped into town any hour of the day, covered in mud and hog scat. The railroad changed all that. They could depend on us. We're the metronome, the click-clack, click-clack, click-clack that lulls them off to sleep at night. Men, horses, elephants, they sleep with us in their ears. Click-clack, 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 like a second hand, on time, always on time. And Irwin, without us, time will pass them by. They need us just as much as the circus. Not every town gets a train station, but with a station, Irwin might become special, stand out, have a ribbon around its neck. Industry, progress, we can bring it all to their doorstep. But without us, Irwin will be just another tiny town in Tennessee, a town nobody's ever heard of. The circus, Irwin, they have our guarantee. You can depend on the railroad.
It was September. There was a town. There was a circus. There was a railroad. There was an elephant. Mary, 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 Mary.
We dreamed of her before we saw her.
She was plastered on every telephone pole.
Every fence post,
Every barn door.
September. The circus is coming.
she was coming.
To our muddy town.
It was all there in black and white.
In color.
It said,
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Sparks' world-famous shows, the circus that never broke a promise.
moral, entertaining, instructive.
25 years of honest dealing with the public.
Presenting a tremendous exhibition of wealth and splendor.
All new for 1916.
Starring Mary, the largest living land animal on earth.
Death-defying leaps of skill and daring.
Mary, over 5 tons.
2 packs of man-killing lions.
Mary, 3 inches taller than Jumbo.
5,000 seats.
Mary guaranteed at every performance.
A free street parade each day at noon.
Mary!
Mary, 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 Mary.
And there was a man with red hair.
It was September, and there was a town and a circus. Now, an elephant is an investment. You open up your pocketbook, you throw down the 8 grand, and you don't think about it again. Simple. Oh, you've got your trained seals, the trapeze, and the strong man, and that's fine. But they're not your bread and butter. No rubberneck comes to a circus doesn't have an elephant. No, strike that. No rubberneck comes to a circus doesn't have a big elephant. Ever since Barnum and that damn Jumbo. Now, Jumbo was big. Yes, he was big. The biggest. He wasn't as big as the freight train that hit him, but big. Now, you see, Barnum understood investments. He sued the train company for insurance, and he pocketed that. Then he turned around and he paraded the stuffed corpse across the country and charged money for that until it started to fall apart, until he couldn't rightly call what he had left an elephant, till he was parading around a 10-ton ghost.
They love a parade. All elephants do. In the wild anyway, walk around. Wild elephant herd follows the leader. Leader's the biggest female. I got no reason to mess with that here. So they all march behind Mary. Shadrach, Penny, Sue, little Mabel, one right behind the other. Trunk wrapped around the tail in front of them. All females. Easier. Males go into heat, go nuts. Not worth the trouble. Easier to stick with the women. Take a stroll with my gals. Let me tell you, the only thing better than watching an elephant parade is being in an elephant parade. Only thing better than being in an elephant parade, leading it. A dream, sitting on top of the world. Little Shorty, on top of my own personal mountain. On top of Mary. Legs wrapped around her back, head in the clouds.
Impressive, no? No. No. So tell me, I do not cost as much. I'm not so temperamental. I do not shit all over the stage. So tell me, please, have the courtesy to inform me why this elephant is the star of the show.
My name, my smile, they buy me some wiggle room. Wiggle room I need, because once I'm decreed safe, nothing more than a wholesome ballet girl, then I add the elephant. 5 tons of gray flesh, bearing me half naked into the ring, wrapped up tightly in its trunk. That's right, the innocent object of desire, wrapped up in a ding-a-ling 10 feet long. And the best part, that trunk is always up. Bad luck to let a trunk droop in the circus, first thing an elephant learns. Oh, I'm never more powerful, sensual, dangerous than when I'm with Mary. Keep your spangles, your makeup, your headdress. Diamonds? Diamonds are nothing. An elephant is a girl's best friend.
They're not just for show. Hardest workers I got. Shorty acts like it's not part of their job description, but when that train stops, they're mine. Get them to load and unload the boxcars, push up those tent poles. Those sons of bitches can do anything.
Nobody looks down on the elephants, right? I mean, They don't have to put on makeup or play the dope to get applause. They're too strong to ever be broken. Too big to ever be laid low. And Mary, well, she's the greatest we ever seen. So we love her the most.
So when an opportunity comes along, you learn not to ask too many questions. Ringling tells you they've got a Tusker for 8,000. You don't probe. You don't wonder why she's suddenly not worth so much. Well, it could be anything. Maybe she panicked one night. Maybe she ran out of the ring. And maybe, even God forbid, maybe she even hurt somebody. Maybe. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. If she's big enough, it doesn't matter what she did. You change her name to, say, Mary, and guess what? You've got yourself a brand new star. Listen, an elephant isn't cute, it isn't a friend, and it isn't a symbol for something else. An elephant is an elephant, and an elephant is an investment.
So it was September, and there was a town, and there was a circus, and there was an elephant, and a railroad, and, a man with red hair.
Ah, Kingsport. The men folk loved us in Kingsport. I mean, loved us. Joey's had to mop up all the drool afterwards. Mary and I triumphantly exited the tent to a chorus of catcalls.
Tennessee started off with a bang. We killed them in Kingsport. A circus can always tell how well it does by the number of locals that want to join up with it afterwards. 15. That was a record. 10 of them were 6 or 7 and went back to be with mommy, but 5 were okay. Big, strong, might be good the next day group.
I was giving Mary a celebratory smooch when this tall guy came out of the shadows and started walking toward me, his mouth open like he was hypnotized. He had these intense blue eyes and bright red hair. I put on my innocent smile and looked around for muscle in case the guy was trouble. Nobody else was in sight. I kept smiling, ready to run. And then I saw it. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at Mary. I let out my breath. He was about 25 or so. He looked like a kid as he stared at her. That glow reminded me of when I started out. I asked what I could do for him. He pointed at Mary and said, "Hey, I want to join up. How do I join up?"
The ballet girl brings over this guy. Hilarious. Shock of red hair, like a clown. 1 foot in the circus already. I tell him I've got lots of newbies to choose from, lots of first to Mays. Why should I pick him? He says he's good with animals. I says, okay, good with animals. How are you at shoveling up their shit? Flinches and says, fine. So I steer him toward the horses and he goes, no, I want to work with the elephants. I've got to work with the elephants. I say, fine, Red, it's your funeral. Elephant shit's the heaviest shit there is.
Lou walks by with a red-haired man. Another 1st of May. Another beanpole. Why do you always hire these weaklings?
Oh, 1st of May walked by with Lou. Say 25, 26. Uh-oh, 25? I'll tell him to stick out his tongue and say, ah. Aha! Diagnosis, circus fever. Case. Oh, he blushes and Lou pulls him over to Shorty's car. Oh, he's got the fever all right, but a little late. Nothing but a grown man following a kid's dream.
Lou knocks on my car. Tells me I've got a new roommate. goofy-looking, red-haired guy. I tell Lou, crowded enough in here with 5 elephants. But he insists. Tells me Red's my new partner. Don't like partners. Partners don't have the patience. First mate, who has it in his head that he's going to be a big tusker trainer? My gals deserve better. They deserve me. But I'm not going to be a jerk about it. So I show Red his corner and he gripes about the smell. I tell him to get used to it. You know, townies think that elephants smell bad in the ring. Try sleeping with one in a boxcar. He shuts up when he sees Mary. Looks at her like she's the answer to his prayers. I don't know what's wrong with the fella, whether he's a nut or soft in the head. In any case, I ain't going to turn my back on him. Now, I may not be very big, but if he ever makes one wrong move, Red's getting the red light.
No, Shorty wanted to bite my head off. So easy to get riled up, like a mama hen. Slammed the door and the train started up. We left Kingsport for Irwin on time.
Once you start moving, Lou comes into your car, tells you that your advancemen wire back good news. Said Irwin hasn't seen a circus in years. And that's what you want to hear. Whether it knows it or not, Irwin's been saving up. They've been starving for cotton candy and popcorn and pink lemonade. Anything that your candy butchers can shovel into their kissers. Towns like Irwin are gold, where your elephant can become what she was born to. 5-ton cash register.
Click, clack, through the night. Their boxcars, our engines, our rails. Irwin is waiting. We would not disappoint. You can depend on the railroad. Dig. Dig.
tired. Drink. Take. Drink. Nothing. Drink. Nothing. Nothing. Drink. Nothing. Drink. Whistle. Elephant. Circus.
Eli woke me up at 4 a.m. I cussed him out. Thought we was gonna be late. Peeked in at our folks, still sleeping. Snuck out the window and ran as fast as we could to the field where they'd do it. We were all there, all the kids in Irwin, there to watch them set up the big top, the greatest free show on earth. Train whistled, brakes screamed, men and animals stomped out of every door. Everybody marched around, seemed to know what they was doing, except this red-haired fella. He kept bumping into stuff and tripping on ropes. People would yell at him, and his face would turn as red as his hair. Funny. It was like a clown. Then this elephant came out. I about pissed myself. Never saw nothing this big. Bigger than the one a few years back. Lots bigger. It made this big trumpet. We about pissed ourselves. They set out the main tempo and put it right between that thing's eyes, and it stomped on forward. Boom, 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 pushing that thing up in the air. Higher, higher, higher. Hold it there so the men could put it in place. It was like a dream. A loud dream, I guess, full of hammering and pounding and cursing, like watching an entire city get built in 2 hours. That's about my favorite part of the circus. That and the street parade. Was really looking forward to that street parade.
About 9 a.m., ringmaster come up to me, told me to keep the horses away. Said they might spook the elephants. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whatever you need, sir. Main Street will hold its horses. Hell, ain't bad enough I gotta allow this circus into my town so they can pick our pockets. I gotta roll out the red carpet for them while they do it.
Got myself a soda pop and a front row spot. A fella never knows how many more parades he's got left in it. Have to make each one count.
Glad I got there when I did. It was early, but well, the street was filling up. James. I was there for James and the kids. They always loved a circus parade.
It was his childhood dream.
I'd shown Red how to feed her, groom her. That's it. That's all he knew.
That Red came up to me right before the Irwin parade. Asked me real polite like.
One day? One day? What the hell can you learn in one day? At anything?
Chance to get Shorty all worked up.
In India, a guy stays with an elephant his whole life. Like a damn marriage. Here, Lou walks in and says,
Big deal, Shorty. He wants to ride Mary in the march. Back off and give the new guy a chance.
I'm thinking, no. No! He can ride little Mabel fine. Shadrach even. But Mary?
You're on Shadrach. Red's on Mary. Is that a problem?
I should have said something. I should have told him she was mine.
He didn't say nothing.
I didn't say nothing. Just stepped aside and maybe made a face. That was my big protest, a face.
Oh, that kisser on that guy.
It's trust. Trust you build up over years. Not one day. Every peanut, every bath, every pat on the trunk. It's trust. Love. Red didn't have time for any of that. Red had a parade to lead.
Now, Shorty's on Shadrach, but he still has to make the call. They won't start walking for anyone but him.
Truck set!
Had the day off from the shovel. Everyone had the day off. Circus day.
Eli and me were about pissing ourselves.
Elephants, clowns, tigers, all mucking down our main street through our yellow mud.
Made Irwin look like something for once.
Could hear the brass band and bass drum for miles.
Mud on all of them circus folk, hems of their dresses, tails of their coats.
Colors you never dreamed of.
So long, stretched on forever.
Elephant had Irwin mud all over it.
Our little town got all purple and silver and red.
That big elephant was leading the whole thing. That goofy guy, red hair, he was up on her back.
I opened the doors, and the steps to the church were thick with people. Faces I'd never seen before. I was about to thank Jesus for answering my prayers. Folks weren't trying to get in, though. Steps were just the best place to face out. Provided a little height to see the parade. They were all there, whole town lining the street. White, colored, man, woman, child, all there. Glow in their eyes. Waiting to see a miracle. Well, if I couldn't provide that glow on Sundays, at least there was something that could.
Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main
Street. Hogs. Them pigs must have been spooked, something terrible to act like that. Them pigs used to the life of Riley running up and down Main Street, eating whatever garbage falls to the ground. Urban garbage collectors. But not that day. That day a band was playing. People rushing about, parade marching right through the middle of town. It ain't no way them hogs ain't scared. Urban garbage collectors on strike until further notice. Clean up your own garbage, people of Irwin. We on strike. Thus the garbage collectors left, the holy grail of garbage sitting right there in the mud. Nice juicy chunk of watermelon. That's when the dominoes started falling. Elephant sees melon. Elephant walks toward melon. Elephant rider turns red. Elephant rider encourages elephant to abandon melon. Elephant ignores elephant rider. Elephant rider is most insistent to the tune of elephant hook across elephant head. Elephant walks on towards melon. Elephant holds up parade. Elephant rider turns red. Elephant rider breaks elephant hook across elephant tusk. Elephant thinks. Elephant decides she's had enough of elephant rider. Elephant picks up elephant rider off elephant back with elephant trunk. Elephant trunk throws elephant rider into soda pop stand. Elephant rider groans in the rubble. Elephant rider thinks that it's over. Elephant rider is wrong. Elephant walks over to elephant rider and puts elephant foot on elephant rider head. Elephant rider screams. Elephant foot steps on down. Elephant rider head explodes like a melon. Elephant rider turns red. Elephant walks away. Elephant rider don't. Elephant, now free from elephant rider, walks over and helps herself to some watermelon. Simple. Parade stops. Man dies. Elephant turns killer. All for some watermelon. All for the want of a hog.
Didn't flinch. Somebody screamed, town folk ran off in a panic. Couldn't do nothing but stand there holding my empty pop gun. That thing kept on eating its little snack, ripping apart that melon, while that poor man's crushed head sitting next to it all opened up and leaked. Ringmaster ran up and said, we'll settle this later. I told him, oh, yes, we would. Then this little fella ran up and led that thing back off to the fairgrounds. Carney loaded that leak and fell up on one of the mammal cages and toted him off. Clowns came up, washed down the street with buckets of water, vanished. It was quiet for a minute, almost like nothing happened. Hogs came back, then the people. Most of them were crying. A few of them were laughing at me.
Folks lined up again, 3 deep on the street, waiting for someone to tell them what to do. I propped the church doors open, but no one came in.
There was a pool of blood and brains in front of the post office.
I heard his head crack open again. In my head, louder than softer, ones right after another. Crack, 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 crack.
She stepped on his head, crushed his skull, sent another body into the mud.
No one came in.
Couldn't stop looking at that blood.
Crack, 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 crack. Town's cursed.
No one.
Heard that fellow was from Kingsport.
Eli thought he knew him. Could have been any of us.
No one.
Carl said she killed 2 men in Virginia.
7 men. 18!
Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street.
You can't just do that. Can't it go around killing people?
Tarzan would have stopped her. Tarzan would have jumped on her back, stabbed her through the eyes, and gouged out her brain.
An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. Maybe God will stop punishing us.
All for the want of a hog. All for the want of a hog.
No one came in. No one came in.
A few were laughing at me. A few were laughing at me.
That's what Tarzan would have done. That's what Tarzan would have done.
An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. God will stop punishing us.
It can't just do that, can it? It can't just do that, can it?
Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street. Right on Main Street, our Main Street.
Now, I could have ended there, but that wouldn't have been right. That wouldn't have been justice. Maybe my pistol didn't mean squat to that thing, but damn it, we'd find something that would. It wasn't going to walk away from this. Irwin don't look kindly upon murderers.
The crowd breaks up. Follow the marshal into the saloon. Me and the piggy stand in the doorway. We hear talk, lots of talk. Talk about what they do to rabid dogs. Talk about the difference between right and wrong. Piggies look at me and look at each other. They grunt and walk off. I do the same.
Stared at the steps, the empty steps, walked into the church and let the door swing shut behind me. Standing on
tried to get a hold of Brent's family, friends. He didn't have none.
It's like he didn't exist, except to us. Like he was born to do nothing but cause us trouble.
Poor kid.
It was weak, not to understand. When you're on top of her, she's the strong one, not you.
Us Joey said some words and buried him at the fairground.
Standing on the promises that cannot fail. When the howling storms of doubt and fear assail, by the living word of Christ I shall prevail. Standing on the promises of God. Standing on the promises of God, my Savior. I'm standing on the promises of God.
You still have a show to do that night, and you must go on. Doors!
Told Charlie, maybe we should keep Mary away. Maybe they'd forget. But he told me what I already knew.
They won't forget. They aren't coming to see the circus. Coming to see the killer.
He was right. There would have been a riot if we kept Mary away.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Sparks World Famous Shows proudly presents.
On a normal night, we play up the danger, talk up the toothless tiger. Not this time. We brought Mary out like she was the most innocent of God's creatures. I was thinking, look at her. Look at her. She's just a big, dumb animal. Can we agree on that? All of Irwin's here, under one big tent. That ain't no killer. Please.
The two of us arriving into the ring didn't usually get a gasp, but circumstances had changed. I tried to draw the crowd's attention away from Mary. I licked my lips, tossed my hair, threw myself out there like a 2-cent whore. Nothing. Their trousers stayed creased. I was playing to a tent full of eunuchs. Forget about the lust, then. Innocence would win the day. Look at me, all of you. Here I am, all wrapped up, all cuddled up in the very trunk that did the deed. And am I scared? Am I trembling? I am smiling. Smiling. The brightest beams of white forgiveness I could, until I thought the corners of my lips would crack open and gush blood all over the sawdust. But it didn't work. Those people weren't there to forgive. They stood up and pelted us with popcorn. And then they made this sound.
Listen to that. It comes true. You dreamed, it comes true. In a tiny town in Tennessee, the crowd leaps to its feet and speaks with one voice, shakes the air and makes it tremble. It's not the sparks, sparks, sparks that you dreamed of, but, oh, they scream until their lungs ache, louder than any lion's roar. Young and old are united in one glorious moment of certainty. Their scream, their chant, their heart's greatest wish. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it.
Everybody around us was throwing stuff at them. So Eli and me wadded our cotton candy up into baseballs and tossed them as hard as we could. The marshal people were waving guns around, everybody shouting. All except the colored section.
No need to say nothing. Irwin don't give you no vote. Best to keep your mouth shut.
Then the clowns started talking. Never knew clowns could talk.
No. Red was one of us, part of the circus. He knew the risks. This doesn't concern you. You townies got no claim here. Military has its own courts. Well, so does the circus. Well, the Circus Court of Appeals.
Then this little guy came out.
She was favoring her left tusk. There's nerves in there. Big ones run down half the tooth. But I saw him. You all saw him. Hitting her tusk with that hook, whacking the spit out of it, trying to make her behave, to stay in line. What was she supposed to do? She stopped him. That's all. She stopped him.
The marshal and the new preacher stood up.
These carnies can talk all they want. We know what we've seen, and the people of Irwin demand.
No, we don't. I didn't cast no vote. No vote was counted. Don't stand there, all huffed up with false pride, saying the people of Irwin demand this elephant die. 'Cause I don't. Or add that in there. Say the people of Irwin minus the preacher. But it doesn't have the same power, does it? Doesn't have the right ring. Add in that minus. You'll have to, though. Find a way to leave me out. Because I'm a person, God knows, but I'm not the people.
We know what we've seen, and the people of Irwin demand justice.
Louder, then a strong man grabbed a barbell and started shouting at the ringmaster.
Call it. They hate rude. Call it, sports.
But the ringmaster didn't do nothing.
They want to know? Let loose the tigers, the lions. These rubberneckers want to know who's stronger? Their puny chests, their straw hats. I will crush them all. Call it, Sparks. Call it out of the room.
Finally, the ringmaster raised his hand, and everything got quiet.
Now $8,000 is a lot to lose. A lot to lose in a hick town middle of nowhere. But investments get tricky when the people want blood. And it's not just Irwin. Your advancemen wire back from your upcoming stops, Johnson City, Rogersville, Indian Ridge. Your circus isn't welcome until that elephant is taken care of. So, is she still worth 8,000? Is she still worth anything? Oh, you could sell her to another circus if no one's looking and maybe try to get some of your money back. But people are looking. And elephants don't just disappear. The people know what they've seen and they know what they want. And you? Well, you know what your daddy would do. So, you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the circus understands. The circus understands your wishes. Now, this merry matter will be settled to your liking tomorrow, and we are open to suggestions.
We had the answer. We always had the answer. At first, they chose not to listen to the whisper of our rails. The marshal knew shooting it with a pistol hadn't worked, so he talked about getting a rifle. Better yet, a cannon. Civil War cannon from the nearby museum. Click, clack, wrong track. We whispered louder. They talked about electrocuting it, frying it like somebody had seen a moving picture Thomas Edison made. That was copycat stuff. That wasn't dreaming big enough. We whispered louder. We wouldn't be ignored. Somebody finally heard us. The rail yard. Down there's a crane can lift 100 tons. Says so on the sign, right there in black and white. Nothing gray can stand up to that much black and white. Now something like that could do something special. Something never been done before. Something like that could hang her. Hang her like any other murderer. Oh, she may be big. That railroad crane's bigger. Crane will get the job done. Crane will do the trick. Crane's a railroad after all. And you can always depend on the railroad.
Hanging suits me just fine, I guess. Still think the cannon'd be better.
An eye for an eye. Irwin will finally be clean.
I never believed it. Irwin is the place to be tomorrow. Ain't nobody else, I mean nobody, Nobody else in the world is hanging an elephant tomorrow. So that's something. That's something we got. And if you want to see it, get off your fat ass and come to Irwin for a change.
So now Lou and Sparks need my help. So now Red's forgotten it's just me. I ask him, I'm not good enough to handle her while she's alive, but I'm good enough to help you kill her? They say however you want to put it. What am I going to do? Walk away, leave it to them to figure it out for themselves? No. I stay. I stay because if I don't, they'll just mess it up and make it even worse of a spectacle. Lou and Sparks, they're happy this is my answer. They smile and open their mouths, and I stop them. I tell them, don't think that I've forgiven you. Don't think that. I will never forgive you. Well, this they're not so happy about. So I tell them, go ahead, what's your question? They ask how to get her out to the rail yard tomorrow. How to lead her out through all those people with all hell breaking loose. I think and I tell them, Tuskers aren't stupid. They know when something's up. You got to make her think it's a normal march. You can't send her out there all alone. Mary has to lead the parade. Like it's any other parade. Shadrach, Sue, and Penny, and little Mabel, and all of them walking trunk to tail as always. Then what? In this. Chain Mary's foot up to the track underneath the crane so she can't move. Lou, you lead the other elephants away fast before they smell the panic on her. And someone runs up Mary's back, places the hanging chain around her neck. Someone she knows. Someone she trusts. You look at me like I'm crazy. Tell them to relax. Tell them I'll do it.
You don't sleep. You think. You wish that you could charge admission tomorrow. But it isn't your show. It's theirs.
Finished the cake about midnight. Not a big one, but best I could manage. Well, I had to fix something. I couldn't be the only woman empty-handed.
Couldn't stop thinking of that glow. like picking at a scab. I prayed for hours. I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was there, glowing.
Stayed in my boxcar all night. Afraid to see the look on Shorty's face.
I give her a peanut, give her a bath, give her a pat on the trunk. I bring her bucket after bucket of whiskey water. Might help some for tomorrow. Dull it, maybe. Hope it doesn't make it worse.
Shorty won't let anyone near her, so I wait until he falls asleep at her feet, and then I step over him and crawl into her trunk, stroking it. Mary cradles me, rocking me back and forth until I drift off.
Eli and me stay up all night whispering under covers. He asked me to read to him, and I do until he falls asleep. I go to pee and hear crying through Maud's door. Crying on the night before the best day ever. Can't figure her sometimes.
Stop by Walter's, make sure he's getting the band together for tomorrow. Whole thing won't seem right without some music.
Irvin was lively that night. Bars crowded, full of nothing but trouble. What would normally be trouble. I walked up and down Main Street, past every mean drunk in town. Funny feeling. Never felt safer.
Stayed up drinking till I don't know when, with Carl and them. Drinking till I have to be carried home. Then I just laid back in bed with a big stupid grin on my face. Can't sleep, can't stop smiling. Imagine that. Going to the rail yard in the morning and couldn't be happier.
The crane is oiled and tested. Small but appreciative crowd gathers at its feet to watch it swing its arm. Left, right, up and down. I smile. These few gathered here now, at midnight, they understand.
She's too strong, too big, too mighty. So they'll see. Joke's gonna be on them.
Sporks will call the head rude. Tomorrow, he will not let this happen. I must rest. I must be strong. He will call.
finally came. Cake turned out fine.
Couldn't help but feel it. There was a spark in the air.
Put on brand new shoes. I wanted to look my best.
Eli and me were about pissing ourselves.
Got to the railroad tracks, saw I wasn't the only one gussied up.
I went to bear witness, to see the glow.
Men in the only suits they owned. Women in their Sunday best, prancing around with parasols like it was Easter.
Never been so proud.
All of Irwin, seemed like all of Tennessee.
Quite a sight.
People rising up out of the mud, standing top of boxcars, top of cranes, coal tipples.
Was sitting in the cab of my steam shovel, best seat in the house.
Picnic baskets, food, punch.
We were doing it upright.
Everybody was sharing with everybody else.
I kept to myself.
Laughing, dancing.
Glow was brighter than the sun.
All the kids were play acting what was going to happen.
Ma told us not to go, but me and Eli, we's going.
Saw some men drinking.
I saw Carl and him having a good old time down there behind the caboose.
I took the bottle out of their hands and I smashed it on the tracks. Well, they looked at me like I was crazy, but I knew it was wrong. Wrong to sully the act with liquor.
It was gonna be something.
Act had to be pure, clean.
I couldn't take it no more.
My cake was long gone and you could feel it. We were ready.
Told Walter to cut it.
You wait for the signal from Johnny Tinplate. And you tell Shorty, go ahead.
Trunks up!
The killer was in front. Them elephants marched tail to trunk like a parade or a line of boxcars.
Why'd they bring those other ones out?
They marched all through the rail yard and up to the crane, and the short guy chained the killer's foot to the tracks.
Now, Lou, now!
I grabbed Shadrach.
Then the other elephants started making this sound. Like they knew once they left, the big one was gonna get it.
Get them out!
Real funny sound.
Now!
Sounded kind of human.
Lord,
Like 20, 30 people moaning full out at the same time.
Come on, come on.
Eli and me plugged our ears.
I got Shadrach and the rest out of sight.
Finally!
We took our fingers out.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Ready? Showtime, sweetie.
The short guy ran up her back.
Women folk were hiding their faces, at least pretending to.
We was afraid she was gonna pick him up like she did that red-haired fella.
But she didn't seem spooked at all. The short guy put the chain round her neck, got down and patted her on the back.
that little man ran off, and she was alone.
Mud in between the folds of her skin.
She looked scary.
Helpless.
Confused.
Guilty.
Like a killer.
Like a queen.
The marshal looked up at the engineer and...
Time. The railroad controls time. I made it stand still. The masses waited below with held breath to see if it was possible. If the railroad could actually kill their elephant dead for them. I smiled. A reassuring smile. You can depend on the railroad. I placed my hand on the hanging lever. I gripped the handle hard, tasting the silent seconds, rolling them around in my mouth, knowing that this part, the before part, would be the best part of all. And then I threw the lever. Time started up again. The crane groaned, gears grinding.
And I'll be damned, that thing didn't lift up off the ground. An elephant, for Pete's sake.
She rose up steady on her hind legs till she was standing tiptoe. Toenails scraping the railroad tracks. Tiptoe, like she was doing a trick.
Well, we all started clapping, and I flashed a big smile down at Carl and them, because they bet me there was no way in hell that elephant would ever leave this Mother Earth.
Then we started wondering why that thing wasn't going any higher up.
Gears sounded kind of stuck.
I started thinking, maybe she's too heavy. Maybe a 100-ton crane can lift a 100-ton of steel, but not a 5-ton animal. Maybe an elephant's soul is too heavy. Maybe her soul is as heavy as the rest of her.
That wasn't it.
It wasn't the crane. Crane could lift her. Crane could lift her fine.
Wasn't a crane problem. It was a people problem. People don't always remember too good. Even a big crowd of people, even thousands of people. People tend not to remember the little details when they got a 10-ton elephant hanging in front of them. Nobody did. Nobody remembered to unhook her. Nobody remembered that her foot was still chained to the railroad track. Her foot was still chained to the track.
So they were kind of pulling her in half a bit. Her foot was still chained to the track, but the rest of her body was headed up.
Her leg broke. A bone about as big as my whole body breaking. I could feel it in my spine. My spine ached in sympathy. It rang like a tuning fork.
Eli started crying.
Should have left then, I suppose.
Eli ran off.
But I stayed.
Baby,
Stayed to see him unhook her foot and lift her up again.
baby.
To see her trunk flailing about, stabbing at the air every which way, trying to grab hold of something.
I think she was nearly gone then, or would have been soon.
No.
That is, if the chain hadn't broke.
No.
But it broke. The chain round her neck broke.
No.
It wasn't the crane. Crane could lift her. Crane could lift her fine.
Mistake number 2. Wasn't a crane problem. It was a chain problem. Chain around her neck couldn't handle all that weight. Weakest link, right?
The chain popped and she came crashing down the railroad with this sound like an oak tree cracking in half.
She broke. Well, I think she broke her hip. She couldn't seem to move. Couldn't get off her side.
It was loose.
Free.
That little guy who ran up her before started screaming like he was the one who fell down. And he yelled out to someone and they handed him a thicker linked chain. And I couldn't believe it, but he ran up to her. Christ! His face was all red and twisted up, but he just ran up there, hooked her up again, and ran off.
Nobody clapped this time. It didn't seem... In fact, some people started leaving. Women leaving the children off anyway. Most stayed. I stayed. Stuck it out this far, I figured. So...
some noises. Some air just kind of puffed out of her trunk. And then, that was it.
I let my breath out, and I breathed in, lungs searching for that sanctified air, just waiting to be made clean. But the air, it tasted no different. It was flat and stale and rank. They hung that bitch for nothing. I still got mud on my shoes.
They kept her hanging there 20 minutes longer than they had to. Townies kept waiting for her to let loose a bellow or rip herself free. Something that big couldn't die, could it? Something that full of life? So they kept her there. But she was long gone, history. And I knew the instant that she passed. Bad luck to point down with your trunk. They teach them that first thing. Never point down with your trunk. That's what they taught her. She didn't care about that anymore. Looks like I might need some diamonds after all.
Look at that thing swing. There are people in this country that think we've become a small nation of little people with little dreams, staring at the ground instead of the stars. Well, look at what we done did here today, and tell me this country's dying. Look at what we did here today in Irwin, and tell me there ain't no more dreamers. We hung a damn elephant. An elephant. We made the impossible possible. So pack up your grip and go if you don't love this country. If you can't see the glory that surrounds you, if you want to stay stuck in the mud, because this is America, damn it, and we can do anything we dream of. Anything at all.
Entangles her effortlessly, tauntingly. I could never lift her like that. Could never lift her. I tried once just to see, but I could not do it to any of them. Even little Mabel, even the baby. But there she is, our star, swept off her feet. By that, it mocks me. It mocks me. It mocks me.
I forgot about the rest of them. Everybody forgot. Once that crane set that poor beast down on the ground, her sisters came lumbering back into the yard. Quiet. Reverential. Walked right past thousands of people gathered around like we were invisible. They walked right up and stood over her. They opened their mouths and their prayers didn't make a sound, but the air, it felt like it was moving, like it was trembling. Them elephants bent down and they caressed that Mary with their trunks, like they were soothing her, calming her spirit, paying their last respects. That man, that little man, he walked over to the biggest one of the mourners, patted her on the back, whispered something in one of those huge ears and let her out. Others fell in line, grabbing the tail in front of them. walking off in a funeral recessional. I fell into, brought up the rear. Best be getting home, gather my notes. The glow was gone. I think it's going to be crowded on Sunday.
I'm red lighting myself. I'll settle down somewhere and work at a zoo. It don't really matter. I'll get older and I'll die. That'll be it. It's your show now, Shadrach. Nice spark. It's out.
Ma gave me and Eli a good switching that night. Wasn't the worst part, though. Worst part was the dreams.
Johnson City was in 2 days. We be ready.
Elephant's got those steel trap memories. Don't forget nothing. It's all the peanut feed, I suppose. Now people got short-term memories. Let loose of a memory just as soon as you give it to them. But not me. I eat peanuts. Keeps it all from blurring together. All them colored boys, they let out to that yard must blur together something fierce. Because nobody talks about how they used to hang colored boys in Irving. They just talk about how they hung that elephant. It's the damnedest thing. Damnedest thing. Peanut.
Why did the elephant cross the road? And what did the banana say to the elephant? How can you tell if an elephant is sleeping? Why'd the elephant quit the circus? How do you make an elephant disappear?
Hey.
Hey, that's thick mud. It's hard to bury a squirrel, much less a... Hey, I got a steam shovel. I could dig the hole. Hey, can you hear me? I could dig the hole. Hey, that's what we got machines for in the first place, right? To help people make the job easier? What? I could dig the hole. I could dig the hole. Please.
It was folk have all gone home. After the prying eyes of Erwin are closed, you pack up your tents, load the boxcars, you wait, you wake up the clouds, put the shovels back in their hands. Good and day, they can get on with their life in their town. After midnight, after the townsfolk have all gone home, after the prying eyes of Erwin are closed, they can get on with their stupid lives in their stupid town with their stupid. You tell them to dig her up. You tell them to dig her up, and you tell them to saw off her tusks. You tell them to saw off her tusks, and you tell them to bring them to you. You have to see what you can salvage, what you can get for them. The ivory, the tusks. An elephant is an investment.